Hello and welcome to the Legendary Chiropractor Podcast. I'm your host, Johnny Reuter, and this podcast is brought to you by thelegendarychiropractor.com, an interactive and immersive virtual platform for prospective chiropractic students, current chiropractic students, recent chiropractic school graduates, and even veteran doctors of chiropractic out in the field wanting just a little bit more from this profession. I hope that you enjoyed today's episode, and if you do, be sure to share with a friend, leave us a rate, leave us a review, and also be sure to subscribe to get more. Chiro HD, superior cloud-based practice management software. Chiro HD is a user-friendly, all-in-one EHR solution built with one mission: to help you run your practice like a boss. Learn more at chirohd.com. Total Clinic Solutions is your go-to source for purchasing both brand new and refurbished chiropractic equipment, as well as phone support for repairs and maintenance. Call Derek and allow him to combine your wishes and his 23 years of chiropractic equipment expertise to find what's best for you and your patients at 704-622-4089 or head to totalclinicsolutions.com now. What is going on, legendary chiropractors? Johnny Reuter here with another episode of the Legendary Chiropractor Podcast. I am coming to you live right now from my car, and if you're listening to this later on audio podcast, thanks so much for tuning in. And today we got a really exciting episode. Today we're continuing the conversation about associating and being an associate chiropractor. I got real heated on the last episode, talking about associating and being a chiropractor and stepping into your true self, and also learning how to lead when you're not in charge, right? I think that's a really humbling experience. I also think that it's a really necessary experience that you need to have prior to going out on your own and trying to figure out all of these tricks of the trade, so to speak, that you can learn in literally 18 to 24 months prior to going out on your own and absolutely crushing it. So with that being said, we're going to dive right into things today. We're talking about your role as an associate chiropractor. What does that look like, right? What does your role as an associate chiropractor look like, and how can you best step into that role as an associate doc with the head doc and the team still on board, right? The last thing you want to do is walk into an office and think you own the place. One, that's not true. And two, not only will the head chiropractor be very disappointed, but it's also, that ego that oftentimes gets in the way in regards to chiropractic and within chiropractic, right? And there's no one I don't think that would disagree with me that most chiropractors have egos. I don't think anyone would disagree with me. In fact, I would argue all chiropractors have egos. And a lot of times as an associate doc, we think of ourselves as less than, right? Less than the head chiropractor, less than the practice they've built, less than, our abilities to serve those patients at a high level, right? And I want to literally remove that vernacular from your mouth and from your mind, because less than is a horrible way to live your life. If you consider yourself less than anybody, you're not only failing yourself, you're also failing your friends, your family, your loved ones, and everybody that you come in contact with, because it's simply not true, right? You can step into a good role. You can step into a role as an associate chiropractor and have confidence and competence when you go to serve patients. So we got three things that we want to talk about as an associate chiropractor. Number one is definitely stepping into that role. How do you go about stepping into that role as an associate doc? Number two is really talking about confidence at the table, right? What do you bring to the table? Not only for the head chiropractor, not only for the team, but for those patients lying face down. What do you offer them? And then thirdly and lastly, it's that confidence level, right? It's being confident in yourself, confident in your role, and confident in the fact that you can be a phenomenal clinician and doctor at the same time as not, having to lead a team or hire people or deal with business and taxes and the risk management of running a practice, all of these different things. So really, really, really important to think about. Now, let's talk about number one, your role. what is your role as an associate doctor? What is your role as an associate chiropractor? Well, number one, it's your job to truly step in to that practice and serve at the highest level you possibly can. What does that look like to you, right? What does that look like for that practice? What does that look like for that head doctor that is, at the end of the day, your boss, right? Do they want you doing all new patient exams? Do they want you doing all x-rays? Do they want you doing all adjusting? Or do they want you doing a hodgepodge of all of those different things, right? You got to take these things into consideration. And you have to ask the right questions. We talked about this last time. You got to be a sponge. And to be a sponge, imagine all of your Dawn products that you have in your house, your Dawn sponges and all of these different scrubbers and things. If they were able to ask questions, right? Be a sponge that asks questions. That's what you need to do. Because if you can ask questions and you can ask the right questions, and you'll learn over time which ones are the right ones to ask at what times. But if you can ask the right questions, you can have a profound impact on not only your future, but that practice and those patients that you're serving and their future. And that's super, super cool. So the role as an associate chiropractor is so critical and so important to understand, and to understand here, which is your mind, your heart, and your gut. If you know your role and you're confident in your role serving that practice, you and the head chiropractor have very clear expectations of what they want and what they're looking for, things that you can truly exceed at, right? Because what you always want to do is, yes, meet those expectations, but go above and beyond. Go that extra mile and continuously go that extra mile. That's what's going to make you a great associate, and that's what's going to make you apart or set yourself apart from the rest of the docs out there, which is huge. Number two is, what do you bring to the table? What do you bring to the table, not only to the head chiropractor, but also to the people on the table, right? So for me, my big thing when I was talking about chiropractic and I was talking with different offices and I was negotiating contracts for myself, my two biggest things that I know how to do and I love to do, and I can always get better. Nobody knows everything, but I am a phenomenal communicator. I absolutely love to chat, and I love to get chiropractic across to the public in a very simplistic way, right? And I can do that, right? So communication was huge for me. I had to sell communication. You got to build yourself up in value, right? So communication was huge for me, and technology was huge for me. How do we get our practice that I'm stepping into more on the trends that we're seeing more commonly, right? That be Facebook marketing, that be Instagram, that be Facebook groups, that be Facebook ads and email lists and text message campaigns and all of these different things that we don't oftentimes think about on a daily basis. But you got to build your value. You got to build value for yourself and for that head chiropractor. Otherwise, what's the point of looking at your resume over somebody else's? Or what's the point of reading your cover letter over somebody else's? Or what's the point of even sitting down or inviting you out to their practice if you have nothing different to offer than all of the other candidates that they probably have to interview? What is your true value proposition as an individual and as a recent chiropractic school graduate? Yeah, sure, you could say you know how to adjust, but are you going to, I don't necessarily think that's a value that you should be, harping on. If you love the spine and you truly love anatomy and physiology, that I would harp on. But being able to adjust is a little bit different because you're stepping into a head doctor's associateship, right? And their practice. So you're going to want to adjust as similarly, as closely as you can to them and what they do in their practice, so that those patients that are in the practice, a majority of them, right, want you or him or her. They don't want just you or just him or her, because at the end of the day, that's the last thing you want to create is division in the practice members or the patients. You don't want that division for others in the practice, because at the end of the day, it's not going to be pretty for you. It's not going to be pretty for the head chiropractor, and it's going to be a pain in the butt, especially because that head chiropractor is probably bringing you on for some sort of freedom in their life, right? Some sort of time freedom, so that they don't have to be at the practice all the time, and they can work on the business instead of in the business on a day-to-day basis. And that's something that's super, super critical that you need to take consideration of bring that value up. That's what you bring to the table for the head chiropractor. Now, what do you bring to the table for the patients, right? Think about that. Are you a good adjuster? Are you good with your hands? Can you be better? We can all be better, right? We can all be better at adjusting, especially just coming out of chiropractic school. But at the end of the day, right, do you know how to do their technique, or are you willing to learn that head chiropractor's technique and how they do things in their office? And also for the patients, right, are you willing to stay within the means and the boundaries that the head chiropractor has set for you, right? You're not going out and off on tangents all the time. You're not talking about things that you guys don't normally talk about in the practice, right? You're not bringing all this, quote unquote hocus pocus if it's not present in the practice already. Because at the end of the day, you want to be able to leave that practice and start your own, if that's what your main goal is, without patients missing you for your hands and not wanting to stick around for that head chiropractor. And don't tell me that doesn't happen, because it absolutely can. But at the same time, you want to be as clear cut. This goes back to expectations with your boss, with your head chiropractor. Understand what they're looking for, and then be able to level up within that scope of expectations, and also be able to push the boundaries and make sure that you're pushing them in a positive manner, and you're giving more to the head chiropractor than they ever expected you to give, which is what you want to do as an associate chiropractor. That's how you prove your worth, and that's also how you stay true to your value proposition that you brought to the table initially, right? Now, third thing here is confidence. We talked about confidence on the last episode. We talked about confidence. Confidence. You cannot have true confidence until you have true competence, in my opinion. That's my opinion. Some people say those roles are reversed. That's okay. Either way, we're probably saying the same exact thing. We're just using the words differently, right? But in my opinion, you can't have true confidence until you have competence. So until you become a proficient adjuster, a proficient communicator, a proficient clinician, right, to do your day one, to do your day two, to do your exams and all these different things, right, at the end of the day, you are not competent, right? But after you get all of those and you get through those, and you're better with your hands, you're better as a doctor, you're better as a communicator, now you are starting to build that competency, right? That's what it's all about. But until you get to that level, I encourage you, like I did on the last episode, is I implore you to use false confidence. Now, let me be very clear. This is not lying to patients. This is not lying to the head chiropractor or team members or anything like that. It's not lying. False confidence is giving you the ability to walk into a day one or walk into a day two in a report and have the confidence to tell them that they have a problem and you are the solution, right? You have a problem. I have the solution. Let's get you adjusted. Right? That's the confidence level that you need. But until you have the competence and the clarity to go about adjusting and doing the clinical things that you need to be doing, you're not necessarily going to feel overly comfortable walking into that room and telling somebody that. You're not lying. You know it's true. You watch the head chiropractor do it all the time, day in and day out, especially at the beginning. But those first 90 days that you hop on board as an associate chiropractor are the most important. Not only are you learning how the systems work in the office for the head chiropractor and the team, but you're also learning and figuring out what those patients want and what you can say and be confident in and be able to over-deliver on in regards to competency and your clinical experience and expertise. That's what matters most at the end of the day, right? So all of those things. What is your role? Figure out who that is and what that looks like for you and the head chiropractor. Bring value to the head chiropractor. This is number 2. What do you bring to the table? Bring your value to the table. Figure out what that value is, and also don't price tag your value at 100, 200K. It's not worth that much, right? At the end of the day, you're still a recent graduate. You're still a baby in regards to chiropractic. You're not worth 100K. You're not worth 200K, right? And if you are and someone's paying you that or willing to pay you that, you better get a good look at their books, Because at the end of the day, someone's doing something a little sketchy, and that's not how it should be. But also, if they're willing to pay you that, they're probably not willing to educate you much, and they're probably just going to put your feet to the fire and let you burn, right? And they're going to take advantage of you. They're going to leave all the time. They're not going to help you. And at the end of the day, that's not what an associateship is about. An associateship is about learning new things, figuring out how to run a practice. And if that is your long-term goal, is to associate, how do you grow in that role? And if your short-term goal is to associate, then open up a practice, how do you learn as much as you possibly can and then open up your own practice? That's what this is all about, okay? So that's where we're at in regards to what you bring to the table, find your value. And the last thing is false confidence to gain competence. That's what this is all about. At the end of the day, that is where we need to be. You need to make sure that you have the false confidence to bring to the table someone to serve, something to say. You know, you have to have you have to have your hands on people or your instrument. If you're doing TRT or activator, you gotta learn how to move what you need to move, do what you need to do, and you need to have false confidence until you get that competency level to truly walk up to someone and say, I know how to fix this, let's get it done. But until that point, as an associate chiropractor, you've got to walk in, you got to be confident, even if it's false, in the fact that you know that chiropractic works. Because it does. It absolutely does. You know that. I know that. Every other chiropractor knows that. Whatever chiropractic, however you define chiropractic treatment or adjusting or whatever you want to call it what it is, call it what you may. But the reality says that you have to have confidence to get people under care, because you learn in school, you learn from true experience when you get out as an associate chiropractor from that head chiropractor, and that's what's going to give your confidence levels higher and higher and higher and higher and more and more and more. And then you're ready to rock it with competent adjusting skills, competent clinician skills, and competent communication skills. And that's where we need to be. But we're not there yet. As an associate chiropractor or a new associate chiropractor, you got to learn these things. And you're going to learn kind of by putting your feet to the fire and drinking out of a fire hose, just like you have been for the last 2.5, 3.5, 4.5 years of chiropractic school. But you're going to learn a ton, especially in the first 90 days of your associateship. And then you're going to be able to give that head chiropractor the freedom that they deserve and want, which is why they hired you. But you're also going to learn a crap ton in regards to how to open your own practice someday or become that long-term associate and grow in that position and keep leveling up in that position. So that's what I got for you today. Your role as an associate chiropractor. I go deep into this stuff because I truly care. This is one of my passions that I have. It is associating, not only because I'm doing it actively, but I'm about to transition to starting my own practice in downtown Chicago. So I need to know, where I'm at on this list, but I've learned so much along this 7-month journey that I've been on so far that I want to share this stuff with you. I'm passionate about this. And I'm releasing and creating Chiropair, this app, to find and post jobs and to change the future of chiropractic employment as we know it, for a reason. Because I truly care about more associates finding better positions for themselves who are making actually a decent base salary with some bonuses and benefits. And at the end of the day, they're learning so much more value, right, than is ever worth in a price tag on a salary or a dollar sign on a salary. Because I literally would do what I do every single day for free. And the reason I say that is because I love chiropractic, but I love to learn new things about how I can be the best of the best when I go out and start my own practice. And that's exactly why I'm associating. It's exactly why I'm learning the skills prior to going out and doing it myself. And I hope to encourage and implore upon many of you to go out and do the same thing, because I know that you can. And I know that we can bring back a good name to associateships, and I'm here to freaking do that. And I'm going to. I love you guys. I appreciate you. I hope you have a great day today. Thanks for tuning in and listening. Leave us a rate, leave us a review. And if you found this interesting, you found some good comments, or you found some, good golden nuggets within here, please drop a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to get your feedback, and we are going to continue to grow this. When Chiropair launches, you guys are going to be amongst the first to know in this group to make sure that we can grow Chiropair to everything that it should be and everything that it can be. I love you guys. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful rest of your day today, and I will catch you on the flip side. Peace and love, my friends. Bye. Dr. Stu Hoffman, founder and president of Chiropractic Malpractice Insurance, is the foremost expert in both risk management and risk avoidance. Understanding the everyday challenges of today's practicing chiropractor and the current public perception of chiropractic has made Chiropractic the fastest growing malpractice insurance program of the last 28 years. Find out more at chiropractic.com. Imaging Services' primary business is chiropractic solutions. With over 45 years in the industry of helping chiropractors, Michael Tokash offers free consultations on building your business. In the past year, Imaging Services has installed over 100 X-ray machines and digital X-ray systems in over 42 states across the United States. For more, head to theimagingservices.com. Dr. Brad Glowacki runs one of the highest volume, highest profile, highest profitability practices in the world, and it's all run with vitalistic communication procedures. Those procedures from his office are then shared with other chiropractors at his various trainings as a part of Level Up mentoring. This information is created, developed, tested, and then packaged simplistically before being taught. With bruises and scars from making mistakes, Dr. Glow always delivers refined content that is battle-tested and simplified for use on Monday. To level up your life and practice, head over to levelupmentoring.rocks. That's levelupmentoring.rocks. Again, I'm your host, Johnny Reuter, and you're listening to the Legendary Chiropractor Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you for engaging with us on all of our platforms, including, but not limited to, Facebook and Instagram, all at The Legendary Chiropractor. Be sure to check our home site out at thelegendarychiropractor.com, as we have much to offer for prospective chiropractic students, current chiropractic students, recent chiropractic school graduates, and even veteran doctors of chiropractic out in the field. And lastly, I'd like to thank not only you, our listener, but also our podcast sponsors. Without them, this show wouldn't be possible. So I encourage you to go check out their websites and what they have to offer in the show notes for this episode. Thanks again. Stay legendary, my friends.